Hi there, I am Marcie Billen with Keller Williams Mullenix and Team Realty here in Norman, Oklahoma. Welcome to our channel. Today we're going to talk about how much money you need to save in order to purchase your house. Have you subscribed to our channel? If you haven't done that, go ahead and do that and hit the bell. So the question of how much money you actually need to save in order to purchase a house is not one I get very often. And usually the lenders that I work with do speak with buyers about how much money they need to save. Now we're not talking about getting pre-qualified for a loan or your credit score or anything like that. I'm saving that for another video. Oh, and if you don't have a lender and you need some answers about different types of loans, you may want to watch this video next. So like I said, I am not a lender. So if you need a lender, then I would suggest looking in my description below and you can find a great lender here in Norman, Oklahoma who can help answer your questions. But being a realtor, I can speak to how much money that you may need to save in order to purchase a home. So a really good rule of thumb is think about saving 7 to 10% of the total purchase price of the house that you're looking to buy. So of course you kind of have to know your budget, which in that case you'd want to speak to a lender. So like I said, look in the description below. So 7 to 10%. Why do I say 7 to 10%? If you're doing an FHA loan, the minimum down payment on an FHA is 3.5%. So you'll at least need the down payment. And then it's also very smart to save for some closing costs and your prepaid costs. So what are closing costs and prepaid costs? Well, closing costs include title fees, lender fees, and prepaid costs include your home insurance and then also taxes. So to give you an idea of how much your closing costs and prepaid costs might be altogether, if we are talking about a $180,000 house, then your prepaid costs and closing costs should be in the ballpark of $6,000 to $8,000. Now remember, the reason this could vary so much is of course lender fees, but then also homeowners insurance varies greatly, and so do taxes. Another question I get a lot is how much does it cost to actually have a realtor? Well, 99% of the time here in Oklahoma, the realtor fee for the buyer's agent, meaning the agent who is helping the buyer to purchase a house, the fee for that person, so if you're working with me, that would be me helping you purchase a house, is going to be paid for by the seller. So typically, the seller is going to pay the commission for the buying agent. Now, why is that? So the seller's the one that owns the house and they're the ones wanting to sell it. So they're the ones that need to pay the agent who is helping them sell it. And usually that includes 2 different agents. And also another side note about homeowners insurance. If you're coming in from out of state, you may have some feelings about our homeowners insurance being higher than normal. Remember, we do have tornadoes, high winds, and hail here in Oklahoma, along with very harsh seasons. So sometimes our homeowners insurance can seem a little bit high, but remember, we make up for it in cost of living. And it also depends where your property is about the cost of your homeowners insurance, meaning rural versus city. Now I mentioned FHA loans, but there are several types of loans that you can look into getting, including conventional loans. There's also other types of loans that we use a little less often, like VA loans and USDA loans. So the 2 big loans that I see for first-time homebuyers especially, but honestly homebuyers in general, are FHA loans and conventional loans. Now I talked a little bit about FHA loans, but conventional loans can be very similar, just with a few less restrictions. For instance, on a conventional loan, the minimum down payment is traditionally 5%, not the 20% that you may have heard. But sometimes you can find a lender who will do a conventional loan for 3% down. That's usually special programs. There are a few perks to the conventional loan. If you do put down 20%, then you won't have to pay private mortgage insurance typically. If you put down anywhere from 5% to 20%, you normally would have to pay private mortgage insurance, but that private mortgage insurance would drop off at a later time, meaning once you paid off at least 20% of that loan. Now, Why do we like conventional loans over FHA loans? Well, conventional loans are typically a little more favorable in the eyes of home sellers, especially if we're in a heavy seller's market, meaning that you, as the buyer, are having to compete amongst other buyers for the house that you want. So a homeowner will typically choose a conventional loan over that FHA loan. So another question that I get a lot is, well, can't the seller pay for my closing costs? Yes, and it depends. So if you have questions about that, I would watch this video right here. So one pickle I often see home buyers get into is that, yes, they save that 7 to 10% that they need to purchase the house. But then you have other expenses on top of that that are associated with moving into a new house. Like you're probably gonna wanna buy some new furniture. You're probably gonna need a new refrigerator or maybe a washer and dryer. You also have to turn on utilities, which could require deposits. And then you might need to do some repairs on the house, especially if you were in a heavy seller's market, meaning that the seller maybe wasn't prepared to do any repairs and you need those repairs done. So a lot of times if you do have to compete for a house, the seller is less willing to do repairs because they know someone else will buy the house. And other things outside of repairs, like maybe you want to change the carpet, maybe you want to paint, maybe you want to add something to your house. So just remember this as you're saving money in order to purchase your house. Thanks so much for watching our video. Just a quick recap. Save at least 7 to 10% of the total purchase price of the house that you're looking at in order to purchase the house. Thanks so much for watching. I would definitely say watch this video next if you want more of your questions answered about how to save for your house or how to budget.